Welcome to part number 23 of the Minish Cap playthrough. Now we're finally getting back to the main quest. After all of those side missions, all of those extra items and things like that, we're finally getting back to the main quest. Now if you don't remember, we got the fourth element, so now we need to head back to the sanctuary and infuse our blade with the final element, and hopefully that will restore the Pickery blade to its former glory. Now, if you notice here, the guards are just so oblivious. If I just jump over the hedges, they don't even notice. Like, they are so narrow-sighted, they can only see directly in front of them. I don't get it, but it just looks really stupid. It just looks dumb. The guards should really notice if you jump over the hedges with Rock's cape, but they don't, so whatever. Anyways, we're here with the final element. Now, you may be expecting our sword to turn green because that's been the pattern, but it doesn't. Instead, it turns gold. Yes, you get a golden sword, and it's called the Four Sword. It's not called the Pickery blade. It's called the Four Sword. And as you might expect with the Four Sword, you can split into 4 copies of yourself. And you also get another ability where if you charge up your blade and do a spin attack, this beam will shoot out of your sword and you can use it to break the curse on Zelda. So now that we've finally restored the blade, we can break the curse on Zelda. But as you might expect, something is going to go terribly wrong, because that's just what happens when you get whatever you were looking for. Something goes wrong. And look at that, another secret passageway. Where does this lead? I don't know, let's go investigate. The Four Sword, it's the final sword upgrade, and now you can pretty much kill every enemy in the game with one hit. Every basic enemy, you know, the ones you see on the field. You can't kill some of the enemies we'll be seeing in the final dungeon in one hit, but just pretty much all of the enemies we faced before, we can kill them in 1 or maybe 2 hits, but most likely 1. So in this room, we see a nice stained glass window, and it's going to replay the intro of the game, except it's going to show a little bit more at the end. And so I forgot what this intro tells you, but if you can read, so read it yourself. Like I said in the previous videos, I'm not really into the stories of the Legend of Zelda games. I kind of like reading about it, and I like how they're all connected in a timeline, but I'm not really interested in the lore of the series. I'm not interested in the backstory. I just don't care. I really don't. And here we discover that the golden light, also known as the light force, is inside Zelda. And of course, Vaati had to be eavesdropping through this whole conversation. He shows up while he's still disguised as the king, and he looks really creepy right now. And now he knows where the light force is. So predictably, he's going to capture Zelda and use her to get the light force. And he just used you all along. He didn't have to do any work, nothing at all. He just waited for you to discover it yourself and then just took advantage of you. I mean, what a genius plan. Why go through all of the effort to find the light force when you can just wait for the legendary hero to do it for you? I mean, what a genius plan. Vaati is an intelligent individual. I respect him for his knowledge. And I like his tactics. I mean, why put in all the effort? Just wait for the hero to find it. And then Vaati just attacks you, and you somehow survive this time, like you just wake up. Maybe it's because I had a few extra heart containers. Maybe I would have survived at the beginning of the game if I had an extra heart container. Maybe Zelda should have picked the heart container at the raffle instead of the dumb shield, but I'm not going to hold any grudges. I mean, I am clearly not holding a grudge against Zelda for not picking the heart container at the beginning of the game. Just so frustrating. So now we can split into 4 copies, which we will be using that in the final dungeon and the final boss, which is cool, I guess. And the Four Sword is it just looks much larger than some of the other blades. I think it's the handle, it just looks a lot larger. But anyways, you can use the new ability you have to unpetrify a lot of the guards and eventually Zelda. That's the new thing you can do. And you may have noticed at this point that the castle looks a little bit different. It has this purple tone and it's not all green like it used to be. And that is because Vaati did indeed find the Light Force and he transformed Hyrule Castle into Dark Hyrule Castle. So, this is our final dungeon of the game. It is Dark Hyrule Castle. Vaati transformed it, and I really like this final dungeon. And I also really like the music piece that accompanies it. If you do not recognize it, it is the castle theme from A Link to the Past. It's just it's a remix. It's kind of slowed down. I really like it though. I think it works great as the final dungeon theme. It just sounds so ominous. It sounds fitting for the end of the game. It gives that a feeling of not helplessness, but like it's going to be a struggle to defeat Vaati, and I really like it. It's really cool. I'm a fan of this music piece. And the castle is just transformed. It's a whole lot bigger than it was before. This is... I'm not sure if it's longer than the Wind Temple, but it's a very long dungeon, and it's fitting for the end of the game. I think it works very well. If you go in this room right here, there is always 2 fairies, 10 arrows, and 10 bombs. So if you need supplies, go there. There will be plenty. And this castle also features a bunch of fake doors, like the one right there. If you try to approach it, it will just fall down on you, and I think it does some damage, but not that much, so just watch out for the fake doors. I think you can avoid them if you accidentally activate it. So, don't worry about it. And this dungeon, it's kind of confusing. Your first time through, it may take you a while to figure it out. This is the one dungeon in the game where you might need a guide, depending on your playing ability or whatnot. Just some of the puzzles are kind of hard, and some of the pathway you need to take it's kind of weird. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but just watch it and you should understand. But it's not the most cryptic thing ever. It's still just like every other temple in the game. It's not that hard. It's not impossible, let's say. And so, we need to save all of the residents of the castle. So here's the king. You do need to save him because he has a small key for you. And, I think there's a few other guards you can save, but they don't give you anything, so don't worry about them. But the ultimate goal of this temple is to, rescue Princess Zelda and defeat Vaati. Now, I really don't care about saving Princess Zelda because if you didn't watch part 1, then you don't know what I'm talking about right now, but let's just say I'm not very happy with Princess Zelda, and, I don't really want to save her. So, my goal in this temple, my goal is not to save Zelda, my goal is to defeat Vaati. I don't care about saving Zelda, I just want to defeat Vaati because, I mean, he used me. He just used me to find the Light Force. He just waited for me to go through all of those temples just so I could discover the location of the Light Force. He didn't have to do anything. He did nothing. I mean, that's just not fair. That's not fair. He deserves to be punished for doing this to me. And so I am going to punish him by defeating him, even though he has found the Light Force. And if you don't remember, the Legend of the Light Force says that if someone obtains the Light Force, they are granted infinite power. Now, the way the game gets around this fact is that they say that Vaati is still extracting the Light Force from Zelda. So he's saying that he hasn't fully gotten all the powers yet. And that's kind of a lame excuse in my opinion, but even when they do drain most of the Light Force from Zelda, Zelda is perfectly fine. Nothing happens to her. You would think the Light Force would be some critical part of her, like, her health, but I guess not. I guess it's just something that lives inside of her. I don't exactly know, but that's just how it works. So if you didn't watch the last video, I highly recommend you go get the abilities that allows you to charge up your split gauge faster. It helps out with some of the puzzles in this dungeon, as well as the boss, which I think it's not mandatory, but it really makes the boss that much easier, so I highly recommend you go get it before coming here. And a lot of the puzzles in this dungeon do involve splitting into 4 copies. Some of them are hard, some of them are not so hard. Usually they involve deflecting some sort of projectile back at something. It's not that bad. But this puzzle, I really like these types of puzzles. Basically, you just need to turn all of the tiles red, but you cannot walk over any red tiles, otherwise you have to restart. So you have to kind of find a route that will allow you to only touch blue tiles. And these types of puzzles have appeared in a lot of different games, and I love these types of puzzles. I don't know why. It's just they're really interesting to me. I like how you have to go through a linear path, and if you retrace your steps, then you have to do it all over again. I think it's really cool. These puzzles have appeared in games like Tales of Symphonia, and I think Paper Mario had one of them, or maybe not. I think it was Paper Mario 2. I think it was in the Moon Base or something. I don't exactly remember at the moment, but I'm pretty sure they had those types of puzzles in Paper Mario 2. And by the way, I really do like the Paper Mario series. Although the RPG elements are really simple and they're not advanced, it's very shallow, I still really like the game because I think it has a lot of charm and it's just interesting. It's a fun game to play. The story, while very, I don't want to say cliche, but it's very simple. While it's very simple, I do like, I like it. I just think it's interesting, and I might play one of the Paper Mario games at some point. I don't know. If I do, it'll probably be the first one, because I'm not gonna say I like the first one better, but I just want to start with the first one. And if it goes over well, then I'll play the second one. I don't know. That's sometime in the future, because I have a lot of playthroughs I need to get to. Some of them I've had on my computer for like 6 months now, and I just need to play them, or not play them, just commentate over them. I'm just lazy. Well, these enemies right here, if they run into you, they will make you lose a lot of rupees. You just lose so many blue rupees, and I think it's like, I don't know, 100 rupees, maybe not that much, but I'm pretty sure it's a lot of rupees, so don't get hit by them. Usually when you kill them, they will drop a lot of rupees, so you can regain some of the rupees you lost. In that room right there, I don't know how they expected you to find that wall that you need to bomb. Like, it doesn't make... there's no indication that that is a bombable wall. I don't know, maybe there is some clue and I'm just missing it, but it looks like there's nothing. A lot of times in this temple, you are going to be facing some Dark Nuts. Now, there's a few ways you can take on Dark Nuts efficiently. I think the best way is to use the remote bombs to stun them, but you can also jump over them with Rock's Cape. That gets the job done. And you can also use the Pegasus Boots to run through them. I find that works pretty well. They're not that hard when you face them in when it's like a 1v1, but when you have to face a group of Dark Nuts, they can be pretty challenging. So I highly recommend you get the remote bombs for them, because using the remote bombs is the best strategy in my opinion. And look at this, we are outside of the castle, and I really like this scene right here where you're floating on the outskirts of the castle. It's just, I don't know, I think this is one of the best final dungeons in Zelda history. None of the other dungeons really compare to this one. In my opinion, anyway. I mean, you get some pretty generic ones like Ganon's Tower and Ocarina of Time, or Temple number 9 in the original Legend of Zelda. or Ganon's Tower in A Link to the Past. I mean, those were all pretty generic. It was just like a final dungeon. There was nothing really special about it. It didn't really invoke any mood or anything like that. But this one, I feel that it does its job perfectly. You get a sense of urgency when you play this temple, or at least I do. And I think this is an excellent temple. I mean, this game was developed by Capcom, so you know it's gonna be good, because as we all know, Capcom is the best development company ever. And not really, but they're really good. I have no problems with Capcom. I really like Capcom, and most people like Capcom. I don't know anybody that really hates Capcom. Maybe there's some people that do. I know some people complain about them releasing their fighting games like over and over again. Like with Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they made like the Ultimate Edition 6 months later or something like that. I don't exactly know, but some people complain about that, but I don't know. I don't really have a problem with that, but I guess some people do. I just love Capcom because they make the Mega Man games, and anyone that has watched a lot of my videos knows that I love Mega Man games. But anyways, in part number 24, we will explore more of Dark Hyrule Castle.